What is up, everybody? I'm NoLucksGiven here with your afternoon snap, and today I'm going to share the best Grandmaster deck that I made. On day one of Grandmaster, I posted a video with a few deck ideas, and I tried them all out on the first day, and this was my favorite. So I figured I would share it with the Grandmaster weekend mission now available. Basically, this deck plays all of the strongest on reveals in the game, and that might not seem like it's true at first glance, but the best on reveal in the game is undisputably Shang-Chi. After that, maybe a little bit more arguments could be made, but Shadow King does a pretty close Shang-Chi approximation, and I think that a deck that can pull off either Shang-Chi or Shadow King and Grandmaster in some capacity, any two of those three cards, is a pretty strong place to start. But this deck also plays what might be the third most powerful on reveal in the game, and it's not Iron Lad, it's Black Widow. Specifically, the ability to activate Black Widow multiple times in this game. We're going to be able to activate Black Widow 3 times, so I'm snapping. We'll be able to Iron Lad Black Widow, and then turn 4, we'll be able to play Black Widow, and then turn 5, we get to Grandmaster that Black Widow. And that just means my opponent only get to draw half of the cards that they get to draw 66%. They get to draw 6 cards this game instead of drawing 9 cards. But that is just absurdly powerful. There is a reason that on reveal draw a card has yet to be printed in Marvel Snap. Black Widow's the closest thing. Denying your opponent a draw is the closest thing to getting an extra draw yourself. And just less options for your opponent just means they're going to have much less ways to maneuver here. So this is a really powerful effect. On turn 5, I could just play the Grandmaster into the Iron Lad location rather than interact with the actual Black Widow, and that's just a lot safer. If you aren't familiar with this interaction, once Iron Lad picks up an on reveal ability, it's going to stay locked on to that on reveal ability. So I wanted to showcase that as well, but of course we do have to play 2 Avengers compound this turn, so it was pretty straightforward as far as what I wanted to do here. And now my opponent only got to draw 6 of their 12 cards this game. They only got to take a look at half their deck. They're dumping out half their hand right here, and that's just going to mean that this is not able to cut it. They are playing with some Grandmaster tricks themselves, able to move a Black Panther over, but we will also be able to make use of that other powerful on reveal ability that I mentioned with the Shadow King. So I'll just be able to drop Shadow King center. That will win the center location, and then Darkhawk on the left. I think my opponent winds up retreating here regardless, just because, let's see, if they've played 5 cards here, that means they only have 1 more card in their hand plus a Widow's Bite. So yeah, they don't really have too many options. They'll be able to maybe play for one of these locations, but definitely not all 3. Oh, they do stay in it. Oh, Hazmat. Okay, that is not quite going to cut it. Shadow King will grab me the Ruins, and Darkhawk will grab me Los Diablos. I thought for sure my opponent was going to retreat there, but we're going to look at some more games in this video as well. This is just a fun one that I wanted to look at. This game, by the way, was also part of a conquest where I lost an 8-cuber against Destroy. That is a tough matchup, but I was able to come back. We're going to take a look at the second to last game, but I was ultimately able to come back and win the entire conquest. So thought that was pretty fun, and this game was obviously pretty powerful. I've got Grandmaster plus Black Widow, and then we also have Bar Sinister. So I'm cooking up some crazy ideas in my head of what we might be able to do. I'm thinking, like, do I want to try some like Black Widow plus Grandmaster all into Bar Sinister shenanigans? That could be really fun. Honestly, probably could have gotten away with just playing Black Widow into Bar Sinister. That my opponent on a Destroy deck is probably going to win Bar Sinister anyways, but being able to just give them a bunch of Widow's Bites, especially before Los Diablos goes off, that definitely could have been a play, but I don't think it's actually super necessary here either. So ultimately what I decide to do is just play the Black Widow into Wakanda. I think that's good enough. I think being able to play Black Widow and then on a later turn playing Grandmaster is usually going to be enough to do it. And my opponent lucks out here that They get to keep Bar Sinister, and now Wakanda is gone. So they've got some pretty good locations for themselves as well, but we're going to be denying them 2 pieces of card draw here, which I do think is pretty useful. Again, I'm just going to not worry about Bar Sinister this turn, playing the Sentry and generating the Void over in that location, just because I know I'm very, very unlikely to win that location against a Destroy deck ultimately here anyways. At least that's what you'd think, right? This is just a silly game that I wanted to showcase. I was not expecting what happened here at all. My opponent has priority and 6 energy on turn 5, and they decide to use that. They are going to play to Bar Sinister this turn. They are going to make a play for that location. However, it's not going to work out exactly as they would have hoped, because they play Null, which currently has 3 power. Not super impressive, but they can grow it, and it's out of Shang-Chi range going into the final turn. And then I try to give them the Void, and I turn all of those Nulls into -7, so now I've won in Bar Sinister, and I'm up by 15 over in the Ruins. So yeah, we'll actually wind up winning this one, and then I win the next game to take the series. The last thing that I wanted to showcase for this video is Kamar-Taj, because that is this weekend's featured location. Kamar-Taj is really, really good with Grandmaster, especially when Kamar-Taj is one of those 2 side locations, because then you get to double up on your on reveals with Kamar-Taj and then move 2 cards out of the location, triggering both of them, of course, but also freeing up the space in Kamar-Taj to play more sweet on reveal cards, which is obviously really powerful. This deck is playing a ton of on reveal cards, potentially almost too many, because that makes it more difficult potentially to pull off Shang-Chi or Shadow King plus Grandmaster, but I do still think it's a pretty powerful deck just because of the flexibility of Grandmaster in it. But I could definitely see some other Grandmaster decks working, and I could also see other on-reveal strategies working with Kamar-Taj. So especially this weekend, this might not be the best strategy to use with Grandmaster, just because there's crazier things that you can do. We saw my previous opponent in this video was playing Black Panther. That's definitely an angle that you can take, but I did at least want to showcase Grandmaster in Kamar-Taj. Being able to move 2 cards out of that location is still really powerful. We've got Hulk advantage this game because I played both of my hoods there, or both of my demons there from the hood, and that's going to mean my opponent cannot catch me in the Gamma Lab, so we are going to take them for 8 cubes. I did want to take a look at one more game to round out this video, just one more fun one where I was also playing a Grandmaster into Kamar-Taj here. This time my opponent with a little bit spicier of a deck. You can see these were all games from day one that Grandmaster came out, by the way. Just happened to get a few Kamar-Taj games in there, but everybody was messing around with the card and trying to see what worked and what didn't. So this game is looking a little bit dicey. We can't actually win in Kamar-Taj. Even if we put Annihilus there, my opponent will have 7 power to our 4. And even if we play like the Demon there and play Annihilus elsewhere, still we're only going to wind up with 6 power to my opponent's 7. So can't really make any great Annihilus plays work. The only thing that I can really hope to do, I do think about just Annihilus in Vormir and then play like a Demon into Warrior Falls or something, and that'll blow up all of the 4-cost cards that exist there. I really don't have any super great plays, but I think one thing that I can do is just play the 2 best on reveals in the game here with Shang-Chi and Shadow King. So I'll play Shang-Chi into Warrior Falls, that way in case my opponent plays anything big there, we'll still win that location, and maybe we can grab a surprise victory with the Shadow King in Vormir. I doubt it, but we can give it a shot. One thing I did also want to say is Grandmaster is kind of cool in Annihilus mirrors, because then you can re-trigger your Annihilus, which can be very, very helpful. In this game though, my opponent has Galactus as that final follow-up, and we are going to be able to get them with the Shadow King just barely, but I thought that would be a sweet one to end this video on. That's going to be it for me. Thank you guys very much for watching. I'm NoLucksGiven. Peace.